It's the 4th of August and I welcome you to the late edition, which is coming to you live from our studios here at Labon. Remember that this bulletin, as well as all the others, are available to you on DSTV channel 277. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, 2 striking groups, state attorneys and Accra Psychiatric Hospital nurses, call of strike. But government's headache is not yet over as GMA neglects calls so far. 40-year National Development Plan launched with a clarion call on NDPC to ensure a binding clause to compel government to implement policies to the letter. AGI's latest business barometer paints gloomy picture about the economy. And the Sports Ministry takes proactive measures to ensure Ghana participates in the next month's All-Africa Games. Details coming your way shortly. Stay with me. Hello once again, I am Mike Luti. The news now in detail. Ghana has taken another major step to bind successive governments to follow a development blueprint for the next 40 years. Themed Black Stars Rising, the launch was witnessed by former presidents John Agyekum Kufuor and John Jerry Rawlings.
Historical antecedents to Ghana's development predates independence. Most of them were short-term and were abandoned along the line. The new 40-year project starts from 2018 to 2057. The National Development Planning Commission, which is spearheading this, is optimistic. NDPC Chairman Professor Kwesi Botwe cited examples of Malaysia and South Korea and called for attitudinal change.
The challenge, therefore, is to develop a long-term national plan that ensures the continuity over a long-term horizon of public policy in the domain of the macroeconomy and in the public investment choices that we make.
President Mahama shared similar concerns.
We've never had a successful plan of more than a decade's duration. And in many respects, this has cost us the consistency and the coherence that come with a long-term view of national development. And I remember I was in Parliament with the Honorable J.H. Mensah, and he described Vision 2020, then he was leader of the minority, as suffering from glaucoma in one eye and cataract in the other. He went on to declare that his party was not bound by that plan and will not recognize the plan. No wonder it was immediately thrown into the garbage bin of history after 7th January 2001.
He, among other things, tasked stakeholders to ensure a binding clause to compel governments.
Never doubt what we can contribute individually and collectively to the process of national development. Self-doubt, the PhD pull-him-down syndrome, and cynicism have never yet built any nation I know of in the world. We must avoid it at all costs if we wish to live to our fullest potential as a people with a common destiny.
NDPC is expected to begin its regional consultations from August 12 to fine-tune proposals. Frank Nyonato, Metro News, Accra.
Now, various experts have given varied meaning to Ghana's attempt to launch its first long-term development plan, which begins from 2018 to 2057.
Today's event appears different because the political parties have been represented at the very highest levels. And the most important and most impressive aspect has been the presence of the 2 key players, that is the founder of NDC and then President Kufuor.
Why are you saying that the 2 key players?
Because they represent 2 traditions, and they appear to be the 2 antagonistic, if I should say, factions in society. So where you see a congruence of participation like that, it gives us hope that the outcome will be something that will be bought into by everybody.
We are just at the preparation stage. So now we are going to make an input. But we are saying, why reinvent the wheel? We had an excellent blueprint. Why don't you pick it up and adapt it to today's changing circumstances? Why do you have to start all over again?
There's also the question of the actual content of these plans. I mean, if we take Vision 2020, for example, that was a long-term plan, 20 years plus. Part of our strategic objective on that plan was to become a middle-income country by 2020 with a per capita income of, let's say, $1,000 US. But looking at the potential of our country, it is obvious that at the time we're setting that target, we're not ambitious enough.
All right, now let's look at some rather good news. State attorneys have called off their strike. They were forced to submit to compulsory arbitration, which began yesterday at the National Labour Commission. But their leadership says they may be at post for only 2 weeks if government fails to honor its promise. The state attorneys have been on strike for the past month over poor working conditions. Francisca Techimensa explained the new position in the following interview.
That we call off the strike to give way for the arbitral committee to come up with the award in 14 days. The 14 days started yesterday. When we met them for the first time, we've been asked to file our address today, and we'll meet them on Tuesday to argue the addresses. I would like to put it on record that our employees done nothing. They have not addressed any of our grievances. They have promised and failed, and nothing has been done. We are not calling off the strike because our grievances have been addressed. We are doing so complying with because we want to comply with the law. But we have plan B up our sleeve. If the issues are not addressed, we have plan B.
As it built up, it looks like the tension is reducing. Nurses at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital have also called off their strike. This follows a crunch meeting which they had with the Employment Minister, Haruna Idrisu.
After talking to the minister, we still have our patients in mind. Because for these few days we are not working, there is a lot of problem over here. So considering that, we say, okay, if the minister has given us his words that ending August and then ending September, we will get our money. And as he said that we should come to him so that we put everything on paper, we want to take his words and then hold on to his word. If at the end of that period nothing happened, then he himself said that he'll do it. If nothing between that, we will be back on the strike again.
So when are you fully resuming work?
We are resuming work fully tomorrow. Today we are tired.
Are you satisfied with what the sector minister said?
I won't say I'm satisfied. I'm saying that we are listening to what he's saying and then we'll come back to work. We love our patients so much, and so we want to come back to work and look after them because that's what we took upon ourselves to do. So we'll do that. In 2 weeks' time, we'll go to the ministries to go and talk to other people too there. So we are waiting on them.
All right, so we have been following up closely on the strike which has been declared by the Ghana Medical Association. And if you are a parent who is worried about health care for your child, then this might be useful for you. The Princess Marie Louise Hospital says that it is fully working. So if you have any medical condition that involves your little one, you can go to that hospital.
The strike declared by the Ghana Medical Association enters day 7 on Wednesday. Government has threatened to drag it to court, insisting it cannot negotiate under duress. OPD cases have been withdrawn at most public health facilities, and doctors are threatening to include emergency service anytime soon. This was the scene at Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Tuesday afternoon. Benches empty, a clear indication of full compliance. A matron in charge at the emergency ward told our crew doctors around are attending to only emergency cases. The picture was, however, different at the Princess Marie Louise Children's Hospital in Accra. Staff were at post, and as of 10:30 a.m. Tuesday, the OPD was full and patients were receiving treatment. The hospital administrator says children under 16 can freely walk in.
Medical officers have not given me any information. You know, normally they meet and they take decision and inform management accordingly, but I've not heard. I'm yet to hear from them. I know they are supposed to offer emergency services, and as I'm talking to you now, my specialists are in the emergency and recovery ward attending to the children. And then for the OPD too, we have the physician assistants covering or taking care of the clients. So I would say we are not feeling it too much. We are okay, work as usual.
Metro News will keep you updated.
The New Patriotic Party, NPP, has lashed out strongly at government for releasing onto the public domain documents or proposals put forward by the Ghana Medical Association in ongoing negotiations. General Secretary Kwabena Japon, who addressed a news conference, however, called on the doctors to call off their strike in the interest of the poor Ghanaian.
The conduct of the government has been shown. I mean, the leakages from the presidency about proposals that the doctors have sent to them. I think that was very unprofessional, and it's something that we can all not be happy about. And if you want public workers to have confidence in the negotiation machinery, then you don't treat their negotiating positions with scorn. You negotiate and make compromises.
The ongoing strike by public health workers, according to the NPP, has come about as a result of government's poor handling of the issue. Kwabena Japon intimated that labor agitations happen all the time, but the approach to negotiations tell the outcome.
We wish once again to take this opportunity to appeal to all the various health workers and professionals in the country to exercise maximum restraint and consider the plight of the poor and afflicted and continue to work even during this difficult period.
The NPP is also calling on President Mahama to sit up and handle the myriad of labor unrests plaguing the country, instead of allowing party communicators to incense already unhappy workers. Independent power producers planning to invest in Ghana will no longer receive government guarantees. Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donko says they should now be ready to bear the full risk. Several independent power producers have shown interest to help Ghana end its power crisis, but many have resorted to guarantees from government to go ahead with their plans. Consent and support agreements insulate them from the inability of the power off-taker, the ECG, to pay for it when they generate. The minister says the demands are too much. He cited the example of Kapa, which is supposed to bring in 450 megawatts. This Turkish company asked government to put up a $100 million bond to protect it from the ECG's financial paralysis. He, however, said some large projects may require guarantee and that partial risk guarantees may be considered with support from the World Bank and the African Development Bank. Last week, the World Bank announced a $700 million partial risk guarantee for the $7 billion Sankofa gas deal between government, Eni and Vitol. Meanwhile, Metro News picked up credible information the power crisis could end sooner than expected. The power shift from Turkey arrives by October and will add 225 megawatts to the national grid by November. Thermal plants from Abuaze are also back because of supplies from the Atuabo gas plant. Water levels in the Bui and Akosumbu dams may also rise in the coming months to improve generation. And still in business, the Association of Ghana Industries is expressing grave concern about the worsening macroeconomic situation in the country.
AGI's Business Barometer Report instituted is a quarterly report that gauges the local business environment. The second quarter business report was based on a comprehensive survey of about 500 companies. It identified cedi depreciation, inadequate power supply, multiplicity of taxes, access to credit, and cost of credit among major challenges.
It is better we know that over a period, let's say 6 months, the cedi to other major foreign currencies will remain in this band. So we plan and project with that. We know that dollar will not cross 4 cedis. It is easier for us to plan.
The report also suggests that there was a decrease in employment, with about 60% of respondents undecided.
For every economy, you should consistently see growth in employment creation. Otherwise, you have a challenge. Every day, every hour, as we are sitting here, more people are being born. And every year, we have so many people coming out of our universities. Some people came to work with us here, and we've asked them that we can't extend their stay. And it's happening in most places. So where are all those people going if we are not expanding employment?
The AGI is therefore urging government to quickly cut its expenditure and excessive borrowing to save the economy from further deterioration and restore business confidence.
Stakeholders in the educational sector are demanding an effective regulatory regime as well as strict monitoring systems to improve upon basic education. Several other issues came up for discussion during the launch of a study on the state of childhood education in Ghana.
The 2-year study by Innovations for Poverty Action follows an exploratory research at Ashaiman. It revealed that low-cost private preschools accounted for nearly 90% of pre-primary education with poor classroom instruction. The study identified ways to change poor teaching methodologies to improve quality at a basic level.
We are testing different interventions that aim at increasing quality, improving quality of teaching in the classroom. So we're going to test a teacher training that has been designed by the NNTTC, and we will be seeing what difference it makes on the practices and the learning level of the kids.
Concerns over the mushrooming of unapproved early childhood centers also came up strongly.
The caliber of teachers that we have at that level, most of them are not professionally trained. The 5-year plan that we have developed to promote quality kindergarten education, we'll be doing training.
A retired educationist recommends effective monitoring mechanisms to address these challenges.
That is the base of development. And so if things don't go right there, then it means that the child is doomed for life. And so it's important that regulations are followed. The social welfare does its work and ensures that those who are opening that level of educational institutions do the right thing.
Innovations for Poverty Action is optimistic that the 2-year study into the state of pre-primary education in Ghana will address these concerns.
All right, you're still watching the late edition, which is coming to you from our studios here at Labone. And from Labone here in Accra, let's take you to the Bunahafo region and bring you up close to the women in the Abuabo area who depend solely on the making of gari to survive themselves and their families. 4 women equipped with knives sit peeling cassava. It's a huge pile, and this was brought in from the field several miles away. This community, Arua in the Bunahafo region, is one of the main producing centers. This heap is ready for grinding.
Ansane de akọ dry mu ti be drama ye wia na ye kode komoto ahokoche so dry and be dey ma 15 minutes na ba yia mai na anti chia enso ni pan be gina so obeche bag nti ayre so abe tere na wa chia wi.
Like palm oil, it's one of the main sources of employment for rural women, and as seen here, this factory is largely operated by women. Adjoa Florence is a mother of 4. She has been in the gari business for 3 years. The stress on her face tells it all. She spends close to 16 hours daily here.
Mitinche 1 bag. Ye wi a wotete akakra ubenya no. Na wa fa na mpaso yen hada nya yibiasa anti so betena ase kwade wode ya migidi se oye. Sese ye bia bade ne ye die wi na de komade wura wa te kakra mai.
For them, the process is now almost a hobby, and I had a rare opportunity to experience how it's done.
That's extremely hot, but if you've ever been to the secondary school in Ghana, you've ever
eaten gari ever in your life, today I'm telling you how gari is made. This is the home of gari in Ghana, from the raw cassava to this stage where I have to continue to turn. I don't want to get my gari bent, but this is the final stage. After this stage, the gari would have become what you'd see in the market. So the next time that you are haggling over the price of gari in the market, remember, a lot of hard work goes into it. This bag on the open market is sold between 125 and 150 cedis. On a good day, over 100 bags are sold. But getting the product on the market isn't easy. For now, they receive financial and technical support from the Agric Ministry and IFAD, but that may not be enough. Asked the women of Harua pack up after a hard day's work, they are confident that with gari, they will continue to live, at least make some money to fend for themselves and their families. All right, so those were women in the Abuabo and villages in the Bunahafu region who make a living out of gari, and that gari finds its way into several homes in Accra. And it's surprising that many people have no idea how this is made, but I hope that by this report, we've been able to lift you out of that darkness. But not everyone would be lifted out of the darkness. There are still several children in the Abuabu DA Primary School whose dreams to become professionals like you and I will be curtailed because their school ends at primary 3. All they are asking for is an opportunity to compete with their colleagues in the urban centers. Meet Rosina Nyako. She's 7 years old and a pupil of the Abuabu DA Primary School. Her dreams may be small, but that is because her community does not inspire much. This particular classroom houses 2 streams of students. You have the P2 and then the P3, all in the same class. The P2 class has 3 desks, 1, 2, 3, and the P3 has about 4 of them. So while lessons go on for the P2 class, lessons at the same time would be going on for those in the 3rd year. Abuabo is located off the Wenchi Highway in the Bunahafu region. The community has about 1,000 inhabitants. The major economic activity in this community is farming. For those kids who want to further their education, they will have to walk along the Wenchi Highway for 2 miles to the Aurora village. Later, in an interview with the Tichima North District Chief Executive, he explained that through the intervention of the Deputy Minister for Education, Alex Chermi, who doubles as the Member of Parliament for that area, a 6-unit classroom block is being built to replace the old school building.
We expect them to finish within about some 4 to 5 months' time. We will need a considerable number of mono desks to enable us to have it, to put it to an effective use. Fortunately, my MP has come in with some money.
If the project goes ahead, the pupils of Abuabu DA School will once again have a reason to smile. The Ministry of Sports says it's taking proactive steps to ensure that Ghana participates in the upcoming All-Africa Games.
At least we are managing the ministry on behalf of the state, the presidency. So we always have to get assurance from the presidency before we do that. But you know, before even the funding is released, as a ministry, we cannot just sit down, fold our arms and be thinking that money will come, so we don't have to do anything. If it comes to procurement, procurement takes at least some days before actual payments take place. I tell you, if it comes to kitchen and all other things, we have followed the procurement process and we are at the tail end of it. And so far, those that are supposed to do the kitchen and everything, some of them have even kickstart. And we are sure that even a week before the tournament, we should get all our kits. And to me, that's the most critical one. If it comes to procuring a travel agent to send the team over there, we have done that. So that is no big issue. We have paid our application fee already. And even accreditation,
Let's now travel around the world and find out in international news.
In South Africa, a court has thrown out the corruption case against Julius Malema, the leader of the opposition Economic Freedom Fighters and a former leader of the ANC Youth Wing, and his 4 business associates. An outspoken critic of corruption, Malema is accused of receiving $400,000 from involvement in corrupt road construction projects. In Europe, more than 2,000 people are estimated to have died so far this year trying to make the perilous journey across the Mediterranean Sea to Europe. The International Organization for Migration says that about 188,000 people have been rescued so far this year while trying to make their way to the old continent through the world's most dangerous migrant route. IOM said the latest toll confirms the route as the deadliest for migrants in search of a better life and gave warning that the situation was worsening.
2 striking groups, state attorneys and psychiatric hospital nurses, have called off their strike. The 40-year National Development Plan launched. AGI latest business barometer paints gloomy picture about the economy. And Sports Ministry has taken proactive measures to ensure Ghana's participation in next month's All Africa Games. I am Mike Luti and I'm grateful for your time this evening. Have a good night.